That's Hope at Crafty Hope, and welcome. It is time for my Crafty Hope Prompts Week 20 Mixed Media Prompt Project. If you're new, all this is each Monday I make a prompt card pulling 3 prompts and altering a playing card. I'm going to put that video right up here for you. You can also find the full playlist at the end of the video. But once I get that prompt card made, I like to do another project, and that is today's. So this week I'm working with the prompts Paperdoll, black marker, and words. And some days, well, let me see what I've pulled out. For Paperdoll, I do have a stack here of these Tim Holtz paper dolls. If you don't have paper dolls, you could cut out photos that you have, or maybe some other magazine images or things like that. Print out something, scan something, or you can even cut those old-fashioned paper dolls that fold together. I've never been able to do those, but I was thinking of these. So I've pulled these out. As you can see, these are some of the larger ones. I used the smaller ones for my card on Monday. But then for black marker, I have some big Sharpie king size permanent markers. These are the super stinky ones, but I have an idea for them. We'll go over that in a second. And then words, pull out this little baggie that I have of magazine words that I have cut out that I often forget about. So hopefully I'll use that. If none of these seem right, I'll go ahead and dip into my stash of stickers or write my own sentiment with words. So that's the idea. You can also see this super shiny thing here. This is some newspaper, y'all, that I did some spray painting this week and used this newspaper underneath what I was spray painting, and it is gorgeous, and I cannot bear to throw it away. So I think I'm going to take my marker here, oh, I'm dropping things, and make some marks to make a little bit of collage paper to put into my art journal. So I am going to work with my Delusions square journal this week. I tend not to use the left page. I don't know. They feel too busy to me when I use the whole thing. So I tend to like to just work on one page. Yeah, so I'll probably just do the one page. It maybe bleed. As you can see, these last couple just bleed into the other page a little. That's the idea. I know I just did a junk journal page last week, but I am feeling it after Seek, Gather, Create has begun, and I'm doing lots of other things. I kind of want to just keep it simple right now. 100-day project's about to start. I just made an announcement about what I'm doing, which is crazy because I'm going to do 2 projects, y'all. 2 projects. Simple ones, though, I hope. Anyway, it is time to get started on this. I'm going to clean up this desk real quick, and we'll get going. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and alter that spray painted newspaper using my Sharpies. Now I'm going to go ahead and admit these king size ones do not work on top of this spray paint. Immediately it's like, what? Even though I tested off of the side, it did not like that spray paint surface. So I go ahead and grab my chisel tip. This Sharpie pen, just like a regular Sharpie marker, and it works so much better. It's so crazy. So I decided I'm just going to make some marks on here and go all the way, just X's all the way down this page. It's crazy, I even try bringing in that king size again when I realize how well that other Sharpie's working, but no, it just doesn't work. So I'm just making X's down this whole thing, and we'll bring that back in here in a little bit. For now, I'm going to pull in that Square Delusions, grab it, and start by making some marks on this page to get past that fear of the blank page. Just go ahead and bring something in. So what I've got is a graphite stick. It's water soluble, so I'm dipping it in my water and just scribbling and then splashing. This is a lot like the Lyra graphite sticks, but this is one I picked up at the Dollar Tree before I'd ever heard of the Lyra one. So one day I'll get the Lyra ones, but I gotta use these up first. So now that is all scribbly and drippy, I'm going to dry it real quick and come back with some golden quinacridone nickel azo gold fluid acrylic. And you can see I'm not even using my palette there. I'm just putting it straight onto the page and getting a wet paintbrush, and I'm going to move that color around. I was feeling like I wanted something kind of rusty feeling on here, and that quinacridone nickel azo gold always gives me that yummy rustiness. So I'm moving this around. I'm not super concerned about if the graphite moves or muddies it or anything. I'm fine with that. I think my bigger concerns were that where I'd put the paint down, you could see those marks, but it's fine. I'm going to go ahead and go in with some collage. And I knew I was going to do that because I have that gold paper. First, I'm going to use some dictionary paper. And y'all, I have to tell y'all, I just bought some super cheap acrylic matte medium. I will put a link to it below, and put it in a little bottle from the Dollar Tree, one of these little bottles like this, because I bought a huge bottle. And was like, I'm going to try this out. I may not like it, but it's super cheap. And I love it. At least for this page. This is the first time I've tried it. I'm using one of those cheap little, what are they, like facial mask spreader, silicone spreader things. I see Lisa Goddard uses one all the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to try that and use this cheap matte medium. And I love it. It does some weird things, but y'all, it sticks super quick, spreads super easy. I'm really happy with it, so I can't wait to use it some more. And of course, I always have issues with getting glue everywhere I need it, so that's no surprise there. But it does some neat things here. You'll see in a little bit with some of the papers I put down with it in just a little bit. One in particular, I think the last one I put down. Now, the graphite did smear as I was putting it down, but I told y'all I don't really care. This is just all background. It adds to the texture. It's great. I'm going for it. That graphite and that fluid acrylic was just to get some color down. All right, so I've got my newspaper with my marks on it. So there's my black marker going down. And I will say that I lose a little bit of the shine from the gold because of the matte of that matte medium. So that's the only thing. I mean, you can still see that it's gold and it's just not near as shiny, but it's okay. I wasn't really using it so much for the shine, just so much more for the accent and getting that black marker in. So, and I'm trying to connect. You can see each of these. I've got those 3 pieces of dictionary paper, so I'm putting my gold paper kind of near. I'm trying to connect everything, bring it together. But I really wanted to make sure I got plenty of that gold paper down because it is one of my prompts. It is the only way that I am bringing black marker into this. So yeah, I want to make sure that that is going to be on here and that I'm not going to like cover it up too much. If it's all over, I can't cover it up too much. All right, so there's those. I know I need a little bit of something else to bring everything together, so I grab a piece of handwritten letter. Now this handwritten letter, y'all, is written on some super thin stationery paper. I think it's stuff that they use. Well, I know this came out of a airmail envelope, so I think it's the paper that they used so that you didn't get any extra like weight to your letters and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm gonna put that down, and it really, this matte medium really makes that thinness of this paper really evident. It almost disappears except for the writing, so that's super cool. And I've got one more thing I'm going to put down that it also does something kind of similar with. It's interesting altogether. Yeah. So let's see, the last thing I do, I thought about it for a minute actually, and I end up bringing in, it's a piece of notebook paper that has a little bit of a rust dye on it. So I thought I was done there for a second. And this stuff dried super quick though too. I was really happy with how quick that matte gel dried. I'm not trying to sell it to y'all. I'm just telling y'all I'm working with something I haven't worked with before and some of the things I noticed about it. Okay, so here's this little piece of what I say, it was notebook paper, and it excuse me, it almost immediately like disappears somehow. Do y'all see that? How it just blends in? And it's just notebook paper out of a spiral notebook, but it's probably from, it's vintage. It's probably from the 80s or 90s. I bought it at an estate sale of some woman, I think, who did like genealogies. So the paper's interesting. All right, so I've got all of that down, and I'm going to start thinking a little bit more about what else I want to add to my background before I know my paper doll and my sentiment are going to be my focals. So I wanted some more texture, and I started to grab for one of my hand carved stamps, but they're just not big enough. And on this big surface, I wanted something that made a little bit more of a statement. So I grabbed this foam stamp that I have and some, I think it's peacock feathers, distress oxide. And I'm gonna just kind of stamp all over. I go a little crazy with it, but it's fine. It's kind of an open stamp, and it really just adds some texture. And I did make a like conscious decision about what color I was going to use, because I thought, okay, what's going to go well with that orangey rusty color of the nickel azo gold, and decided, yeah, a blue, which is a complementary color to orange. I think that's right, y'all. I'm so bad with the color wheel stuff, but I did stop and think about it and decided that a blue like this would work beautifully. And even though it's not one of my hand carved stamps, I'm going to do my favorite thing that I do with stamping, which is to, especially with the distress oxides, which is to take a paintbrush and go around the edges of the stamp and pull that color out a little bit, so that the inside remains kind of intact, but the rest of these stamps bleed together and blur at the edges. I don't know, there's something about that really just, it tickles my fancy. So that's what I'm doing, taking my time. And this is, it's a neat little color. And I didn't think I was going to add any more color to this, but I felt like once I got this on, I still needed a pop of something. And I probably should have gone with gold, but I've already got gold on there. So what I decide to do is pull out an acrylic ink. I think I'm going to dry this first. And while I dry it, I was thinking about what it was I wanted to do. And I grab an Amsterdam acrylic ink in primary magenta, so a red. But I thought, that would be a nice pop of color without being over the top. And I'm just going to splatter it. I'll grab a fan brush, wet it with some water, and I didn't even put water in the acrylic ink. And I'm going straight in. Just like I said, I wanted just a little bit of something else on here. So like that, I've got kind of different primary colors on here, I suppose. But that's okay. That can, it works. And at this point, I was like, okay, let's start thinking about our focal, what we're going to do. And they were sitting on the top, these three girls, and I was like, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to use. But finding a position for them, because they're sitting and I wanted them to sit on something. So that strip of that notebook paper seemed about right, but I needed to have some shadow. So I grab that graphite stick again and just draw along and extend over where that paper was. So across, out into the nothingness on the left side and over into the right, and then wet that. And that gives them like a little chair. And I took a little time off camera to play with some gold markers, because I wanted to bring the gold back into this image somehow. And I found this, it's a glitter pen from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just highlighting one thing on each of the girls. So on the girl on the left, it's her hair. On the girl in the middle, it's her little bow on her shirt. And then the girl on the right, it's her pearl necklace. So they're each getting some of this glitter pen. I don't even know, glitter marker on them. It's really hard to see on here, but there's one picture at the end at an angle that you'll see that a little bit more. And then I'm going to take a little bit of time to try to stick them down. I probably should have gone for either my matte gel or that matte medium, but instead I grabbed the Oohoo, and I had to fiddle with this a while to get it to stick, y'all. They're still not completely like stuck down all the way, but it's good enough. It is fine. You'll see. I'm going to put them down, weigh them down for a second. And see, in my fiddling there, I think some of the glue kind of dried. So I let them sit for a second, and I come back, and I thought, I had gotten some of the blue on them, so I had to get that off. Yeah, and so here I'm going to try to glue some more, I think. I don't know. Yeah, Here's more glue getting added because you see she just popped right on up. So I'll fiddle with that. I probably should have taken that off camera because y'all understand how it happens sometimes that things don't get glued the way you want them to. And I kept thinking maybe I would highlight around them, but I just, it felt like too much. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab a sentiment. I had seen this one when I was gathering those magazine words, and I really like, I don't know who the quote's from, but I really like it. That says, "You should have big dreams, but know how to be happy with the simplest of things too," which is kind of how I live my life, I feel. So I like that enough that I am going to just put my Uhu on the back of it, lay it down, and to highlight it a little bit more, I'll grab that graphite stick and go around the top, bottom, and right side of it. I really like the torn side on the left. So I'll keep that there and accent the other sides with my graphite stick, which I wet, and that is it for this page. I told you I wanted to do something fairly simple this week, and I feel like this was. I hope you like it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, and if you were playing along, tag me and use that hashtag CraftyHopePrompts. All right, guys, I will see y'all very soon with more prompts. All right, bye.